Thank you very much. Last month, Senator Barack Obama delivered a powerful address on race in response to criticism of controversial statements made by his former pastor, Reverend Dr. Jeremiah Wright Jr. Regarding Wright, Obama said, quote, "I can no more disown him than I can disown the black community. I can no more disown him than I can my white grandmother, a woman who helped raise me, a woman who sacrificed again and again for me, a woman who loves me as much as she loves anything in this world, but a woman who once confessed her fear of black men who passed by her on the street, and who, on more than one occasion, has uttered racial or ethnic stereotypes that made me cringe. These people are a part of me, and they are a part of America, this country that I love," unquote. Here, Obama references his own biracial identity to explain how he and the country must hold together black and white in all their complexities. In fact, Obama has consistently argued that American politics cannot rehash the simple polarities of the past. Instead, his politics of hope depends on the willingness to bridge perspectives and worlds. While his multiracial identity doesn't fully explain his political commitments, Obama's speech last month does illustrate how our personal and professional identities may interact. Even if our personal identities aren't an explicit part of our professional lives, our experiences of personal integration often provide us with important resources for our public lives. So just as Obama does not place racial identity at the forefront of his campaign, his own experiences of simultaneously standing within two racial communities have informed his political commitment to bridge building and his vision for America. My own personal negotiation of my Japanese and German identities has also led to some specific commitments in my life, commitments that impact my professional life as a teacher, scholar, and theologian. I have always been very conscious of my Hapa-ness. Growing up in St. Louis, I was aware that interracial relationships were an anomaly. At least that was the attitude in my suburban community. I therefore experienced myself as being caught between worlds, Japanese and German, Asian and American, yellow and white. I never knew what color I was, what boxes to check when I took standardized tests, what groups I was supposed to hang out with at school. Race wasn't something we talked about in our family, as my parents seemed to have thought that a colorblind, love-conquers-all approach to parenting would heal all wounds. But race was something my parents fought about behind closed doors, especially after visiting my father's German Catholic family in southern Ohio. They loved us, but they treated me, my mother, and my brother as honorary whites, and even made excuses for us when they made derogatory statements about persons of color. They would say of Asians, "I can't tell them apart, they all look alike." Then they'd turn to us and say, "But not you, you don't count." To their great credit, my parents did work to instill a sense of pride in my heritages, encouraging us to participate in cultural associations, learn traditional Japanese arts, and even travel to Germany. My parents even bought me a shirt that said Hapa, and damn proud of it. But at the time, I didn't know what it meant to be Hapa. Didn't know anyone else who was Hapa besides my brother, and he had his own problems. And so it wasn't something I was all that proud of. As a child, I didn't always appreciate their efforts, but it is something I very much cherish today. I am a Yonsei Hapa, and I look exactly like my Japanese American mother and grandmother. People always want to know what I am. Oftentimes the curiosity is well meant, though just a tip, calling someone a what is not the most humane way to ask a person what their ethnic background is. And sometimes the curiosity is more hostile. Almost always, though, what really comes through is that there is a certain anxiety over not knowing what racial ethnic category people fall into. Multiracial persons challenge our easy assumptions about what race is. People are almost never interested in the fact that I am German, but they knowingly smile and nod when they hear that I am Japanese. Ah, they say, I knew you were something. When people asked me as a child what I was, I used to answer that I was German, and then triumphantly watch them splutter about as they tried to get the real answer they wanted. It was my way of forcing my own who-ness onto them. I resented being boxed into one racial ethnic category. Part of what was also happening was my own struggle to appropriate my Japanese-ness. This is something I came to do later. But what made this so difficult was that wider St. Louis society was so interested to force it on me as the entire definition of what I was.